I'll be moving swiftly to my topic, and that is the impact of culture on Nigeria educational system. This topic has two coded points we need to take cognizance for. The first one is culture, and the second one is education. For as many of us that started our education in tertiary university of education from 100 level, we must have done a course, Ed111. That is the historical foundation of education, if I'm not mistaken. So, Dr. Tajudeen wrote a book on that subject matter. And for as many of us that read that course, we must have read that education is derived from two Latin words, educere and educare. So, education is an avenue for us to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Education does not take place in the four corners of the university alone. It does not take place in the four corners of the classroom alone. Education can take place anywhere, anytime, anyhow. And that is why Dr. Tajudeen stated in that book that education can be formal, it can be informal, and it can be non-formal. However, understanding culture and education, culture refers to the collective beliefs, custom, arts, social institution, and achievement of particular nation, people, or social group. Education, on the other hand, is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, and habits. In Nigeria, we are blessed in Nigeria with diverse culture, and that is why our culture should be a synergy to unite us and not disunite us. Irrespective of our diversity should bring about unity. Let everybody repeat that after me. Our diversity should bring about our unity. Let's say that. Our diversity should bring about our unity. In everywhere we find ourselves, we will always find people from diverse culture, people from diverse backgrounds, people from diverse beliefs, people who have different doctrines, people of difference in indoctrination and different background. But irrespective of the beliefs, irrespective of how we divide our opinions, we should learn to move together in a bid to achieve success and in a bid to achieve goal. Then in Nigeria, how do we now correlate our culture and our education? Does our culture has an impact on our education? And does education has an impact on our culture? Yes, it has. Our culture has an impact on our education positively and negatively. I will be stating the positive side and as well as the negative side of how culture can influence our education and how culture can as well influence our education. First and foremost, culture can influence our education as a preservation of our heritage. Our educational system serves as a conduit for preserving and transmitting cultural heritage. By integrating traditional stories, folklore, proverbs, and historical accounting to the curriculum, students gain a deeper understanding of their roots and a sense of pride in their identity. Many of us, when we are being told some things to do in school, we do not get it clearly until we are given a scenario that we can relate with in our culture. Let me break it down. How many of us can complete this adage? So, when somebody is telling us that when someone is relating that adage to us, we understand it more clearly than when someone is telling us with a language we do not really understand. So, our culture can be as an advantage for us to preserve our heritage. Number two, our culture as well can influence our moral and ethical values. In Nigeria, for instance, we are imbibed, and in Yoruba land, Ogun State as a matter of fact, we are trained and nurtured to respect elders, community solidarity, moral integrity. These values are often embedded in the educational system, promoting ethical behavior, social responsibility, and a strong sense of community among students. Many of us, we often complain that our lecturers mark us down when we write examination. The reason is not perfect. So Some of our lecturers are not sadists. They are not people who do not have children at home. But because some of us lack behavioral etiquette to relate with our lecturers, the only thing we have come to do in school is to be certified in education. And that is why whenever anybody is certified in any institution, you will find that certificate that haven't been certified in morals and in ethics. It means beyond your education, beyond the certification, the university system is willing and ready to imbibe the right ethics, the right values, and the right morals in each and every one of us. And that is one of the things that our culture is ready and willing to imbibe in each and every one of us. The last one is community involvement. Community involvement, the layman example for this is giving back to the society. The Yorubas, we always tell you to give back to the society. Yorùbá máa sọ fún wa wípé a gbọ́dọ̀ wúlò fún ará ilé, a gbọ́dọ̀ wúlò fún ará àdúgbò. Wọ́n máa ń sọ ní òyìnbó nínú ọ̀rọ̀ wọn wípé olówó tí ó lè ná owó fún ará ilé ẹ̀ tó bá lè jà gbọ́dà tó bá lè kókó kú bí Yorùbá ṣe máa ń pa owó yẹn. What am I saying in essence? The ultimate purpose of living is not to live for decades, rather to make an indelible impact that will continue to reverberate through untold generations. It is not to live for 70 years that matters. It is what you have done within that 70 years that lingers. I'm a member of JCI, and the last line of the JCI creed states that service to humanity is the best work of life. So, irrespective of what you have been blessed with, irrespective of what you know, irrespective of how influential you are, it is the ability to give back to the society that matters a lot. Our personalities seated here would have been seated in their offices with their ACs, but they thought it wise that giving back to the society is best, and they have honored us with their invitation, they have honored us with their presence, they have honored us with their positions, and we are glad to receive them. Irrespective of where you become tomorrow, our culture is encouraging us to always give back to the society, to always give out of the little we have. You don't need a pocket full of gold to be able to give out. You do not need to have everything in abundance to be able to give out. Irrespective of how little you have, learn to give out of what you have, and that is how you will be remembered. For as many of us that are from Ogun State, we will always remember MK Abiola. MK Abiola, Mashood, Kashima, Olawale Abiola, he will forever be remembered. You know why? When he was on heart, he was not the most influential person on heart. He was not the richest person on heart. He was not the only person that was blessed, but he was only special. He was only remembered because he came out of the little he has been blessed with. He contributed to Muslims, he contributed to Christians, he built schools, he built mosques, he even contributed to churches, despite not being a Christian. And that is to tell us that irrespective of what we have, we should learn to give back to our society. Again, one of the challenges and negative impact of our culture and our education, number one is cultural conflict. Cultural conflict. And what does that mean? Nigerian cultural diversity sometimes leads to conflict within educational settings. Differences in cultural practices and beliefs can create misunderstanding and tension among students and educators from various backgrounds, potentially hindering effective learning. At times, our differences in background, our differences in culture may often lead us to not understanding some things and disagreeing. However, I want to encourage us in this hall that irrespective of our disagreements, irrespective of where we differ, we should learn to agree agreeably. We may differ in opinion. Professionals differ. Doctors differ. Even lawyers, they differ in the court of law. But irrespective of how they differ, they will not look down on themselves. They will not humiliate themselves. They will not disrespect themselves. And that is why I want to advise every one of us. When we are having an argument with anyone, let our argument be based on intellectual basis. We should not focus on personality. We should focus on the subject topic. For instance, we are disagreeing. We should not direct the disagreement to our personal self. We should focus it on the topic we are discussing. And we should not turn the argument to something that will lead to our enmity. Our disunity in when we disagree will not bring about prosperity for us. But when we disagree to agree, we will agree agreeably, and we will continue to prosper in everything that we do. Again, our culture can be a catalyst for gender inequality. In some homes, they do not prioritize the education of a female child. It is considered that a female child does not need to be educated. That whenever she is educated, she ends up being in the kitchen. And that is not true. I want to encourage every lady sitting down here that you are special, you are different, you are unique. You have hidden potentials lying in you yet to be unleashed. And if you don't let anything whatsoever deny you from reaching your potentials, your gender should not deny you from reaching your potentials. Women today are lawyers. We have women today who are holding top positions. Last year convocation in Unilag, I don't know who was there. I was present at last convocation of Unilag. The best graduating student for PhD was the lady. She is Dr. Aminat Ike. So that lady graduated with a first class and graduated with the best GPA among her peers. Despite all the hurdles, despite all the troubles, despite all the challenges, despite all the life tribulations life posed against her, she finished as the best graduating student. So who is telling you that you cannot make it? Tell yourself, I can make it. Let me see the affirmation. Tell yourself, I can make it. Tell yourself, I will make it. And tell yourself, I am going to make it. So it does not start with an affirmation alone. Your affirmation needs to be backed up by hard work. At times, we often pray to God. Most of us are believers. When we wake up early in the morning, we pray to God. God, give me money. God, give me wealth. God, give me long life. All these things we are praying for will not come to fruition when we do not back them up with hard work. Our prayers will only lead to fruition. Our dreams will only be achieved. Our dreams will only be fruitful if we can back up our ideas with hard work. When you fail to back up your ideas with hard work, nothing will change and your situation will not change. Again, our culture as well can be a resistance to change. Certain cultural beliefs and practices may resist modernization and educational reforms. For instance, some communities may prioritize traditional vocations over formal education, impacting students' career choices and aspirations. I have traveled to some parts of the country. I would not like to mention the state. And in that place, they do not prioritize education at all. What they prioritize is for them to just have a trade they do and have they learn something, and when they learn it, they are satisfied. They do not think that they need to go to school. And they will always attach this belief of theirs to an adage of Yorùbá sọ wípé iṣẹ́ ọmọ aláṣẹ jẹ ọmọ aláṣẹ là. So they believe that for them to be wealthy in life, all they need to do is to be engaged in trade, and they will be engaged in trade. Irrespective of the trade you want to be engaged in, if you are educated, the way you do your trade will be different. I have seen people who are just fashion designers. I don't want to call them tailors because they do not like to address themselves as tailors. They are fashion designers, but because they are educated, there is a difference in what they do. Who have heard of Yomi Casuals? Yomi Casuals is just a fashion designer like anybody will know. Yomi Casual will sew anything that anybody is wearing here. Anybody that is a fashion designer in your area will sew what Yomi Casual is sewing. But you know what is different? It is the spice, the packaging, the branding that make the difference. And what we think about that branding, it is when you are educated. The level of your education, the level of your exposure, the level of the people you meet will make you different from those who are not educated. I tell you for free that education or your certificate is not a license for you to be wealthy in life. Can anyone repeat that? Your certification is not a license for you to be wealthy in life. It is just a testament that you have attended school. So, if you have attended school, it is not just for you to come up with a certificate. we are expecting you to have gained more exposure, to have met more people, make more connections. And that is why a popular saying goes to us that your network is going to be determined by your network. So the caliber of people you know will determine how far you will go in life. So if you are in school and you decide not to associate with people, you decide not to mingle with people, when you graduate you will be back to square one, because those things that you think you can achieve now, you eventually discover that they are relatively unavailable when you eventually graduate. Lastly, regional